happy, following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We have the Tigers tops here at St Andrews. They gonna give us what we're longing for. It's Birmingham forever. Let's hear it from the stand. So come on, City, sing this song.
Welcome, ladies and gents. It's 7:30 on a Monday night. This, of course, is the Tilton Talk Show brought to you through our sponsors, Boylesports, principal sponsors of Birmingham City Football Club, M.A.Reilly, French Polishers, and, of course, the Garrison Coffee Company. We have a very special guest in the room tonight, ladies and gents, a very special guest. Even though we're on Zoom, we're in the room. You know what I mean? With us tonight, we've got young Ollie.
Evening.
Who unfortunately got dropped off at the wrong end of Chris's road.
Don't even start.
That's very embarrassing. Mrs. Browne.
Good evening.
And, of course, Mark Andrew Adams, a.k.a. Mr. Rowe.
Good evening, everybody. Are you
We've
okay?
got Paul Hipkiss, a.k.a. Mr. Sheen, and I wonder why we call him that.
Evening all.
We've got Chairman of the Board, Watto.
Good evening, everybody.
And we've got the man in control, that is the one and only Mr. Craig Courtney.
Evening all.
Is that everybody else? Like, am I all right now? Have I done?
Yeah. Special guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from Radio West Midlands, we welcome to the Tilton Talk Show tonight the one and only Mr. Richard Wilford.
Loving the big build-up. Thank you for inviting me.
Richard Wilford's leaving now.
I've peaked.
You peaked. That is absolute quality, mate. You peaked. Right, okay, no win for the Blues of the weekend. Another draw. We're getting safer and safer and safer. And that's the time that we're then going to start working hard to rebuild proper. Looking at the news tonight, I know that every football fan in this country, and certainly every Birmingham City fan, stands with Ukraine and what is going on over there. We will mention it every single week because it's on the news now and it just is disgusting. It's disgusting. And I only wish the world could do more for those poor people. Bless you. Sorry. Okay, so on with the show. Middlesbrough then tomorrow night. That's going to be a difficult one. They're in 8th position at the moment. And then a 0-0 draw Saturday. And a really boring game. Craig, you were there?
I wasn't. I've missed my first match.
Paul, were you there?
Terrible. Oh, thanks, Nick.
You can go back to sleep now.
It was. I've seen better games, obviously, but first half was, to be honest, it had a bit of an end of season feel about it for me. I think.
What, an end of season with nowhere to go?
Yeah, like almost like. I don't think the players. I mean, the players were putting a lot of effort in and trying. Don't get me wrong, but it kind of had just almost like, we are safe. I don't think there's any relegation concerns now, and that for me is a massive positive when you think about where we've been over the last few years. Final day survivals. What is it? 3 seasons out of the last 5. Final
yeah, but
day?
don't you think though, Paul, that we should really be pushing to get a higher place?
Yeah,
We ain't going to get into the playoffs. We're certainly not going to go up, but let's do the best we can.
Yeah, I think we are doing the best we can, and we've got these players now coming back and gelling. Obviously, don't forget Chong hasn't played for so long, and Richard,
I get that. Yeah,
Richard's made his debut for us on Saturday and came on, and Hernandez is just dynamite though. He's so good.
Oh man, he's incredible.
He's running at players with the ball. He's outstanding. He really is. I think, like Bodie said in his interview after the game, if we can just work on his final ball a bit. And just get a bit more out of him when it really matters, like that last little bit, then we really will have a player on our hands if we can sign him.
And of course, we've still got Troy to come back.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Nico Gordon for me was the standout player on the pitch. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and he really impressed me at the back. And we could have some, a really good player for the future there as well. So we
didn't mention it last week. He scored last week, didn't he, Paul?
He did, yeah. He scored.
And we played last Monday. Chris Browne played the Crossroads tune, and N. Gordon scored the goal.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What foresight?
But no, for me, I think now, you can see there's progress there. It feels a lot better just going down to the games now. I've got a different feeling than what I had before. With Ian Dutton as MD now and Craig doing what he's doing, Craig Gardner. There's obviously, yeah, we'd all like new owners still, but even with
and of course the introduction of Paul Tate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tate's back. Martin O'Connor's doing what he's doing as well. So, you know, we're getting an identity back now, which is great. And you know, I think it stems well for the future, hopefully. And
We'll get it. Go on.
We've made progress, and you know, we're 16 points. Is it 16 points now? You know, closer to the playoffs, aren't we, than the bottom three now? So that's progress. That's progress. So the only thing I will say is I think our best 5 players that we've got in the team are all on loan, aren't they? Or best 4 players. So you know, you got Menga, you got Chong, you got Hernandez, and Lyle Taylor. They're all on loan. So if we can sign at least 2 of them permanently, that'd be massive for us, I think.
Don't you just want that, Hernandez? Yeah, Mark.
No, I just wanted to chip in with what Paul said. That was almost word for word what I said to my friends on Saturday. I think key to it as well, we've actually got some characters in the team. Yeah, it's not a chore anymore. I've said it a million times, but it's not a chore the last few weeks. It's actually enjoyable again, and we've got some more likeable characters in the team.
Sorry, Mark. Don't forget as well, we'd be 8 points better off at least with VAR in the Championship.
Yeah, but somebody's also just written here, though, you know, with the points deductions at Reading and Derby, we could well be in trouble if it weren't for them.
Yeah, I guess. Well, even without them, or you know, we wouldn't be in the bottom 3, would we? We'd still be clear.
That was from Damien Kelly. Damien, thanks for your input, mate.
No, he's right. He's right what he says. We would be further down. But we'd still be a good sort of 10 points clear, something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Watto, off you go.
On the way up, I was reading a report of their manager who said was, you know, he twigged what Birmingham were and who made them tick. Obviously, talking about the Chongs and Bacuna and Hernandez, and boy did he. He nailed certainly 2 of them down. Didn't do a fat lot at all, really. And he did have that end of season feeling where you thought, well, they're both thinking, we don't want to lose this, because a defeat for one or the other, you start looking down again. And it sort of petered out to me. You know, we'll both take this and, you know, move on. Hopefully it'll be a bit more exciting tomorrow night, when obviously Middlesbrough are going to come and have a go. They're
going to have a go because they're 8th and they've got an opportunity to get in the playoffs,
so, they'll be a bit more adventurous, and we'll hopefully have a bit more space to do stuff in. But I'd just like to give a thanks to the staff of Southern Rail who got me home on Saturday night. I was 10:30, I was stuck in Ashford. And they got me home to Bexhill. Thank you very much.
Richard, your take.
Yeah, interesting, because I'm going to give you some pros and cons about Lee Bowyer from Saturday's game, in that I thought the reason the first half was stagnant was that he chose to use Ivan Sunic as a man marker. He decided that George Honeyman was going to cause problems, and it stopped Blues from playing out the way that they've been playing out in recent weeks. It meant that you lost Sunic. I know he's not great on the ball, but his job was all about man marking. It meant they really struggled to get going. But I love the fact that he changed it at half time, that he goes from 3 at the back to playing a back 4. Sunic only has 5 more minutes because he can't use the ball. Ryan Woods comes on and starts pinging it to the players who are causing them trouble. And then Hernandez ran riot, didn't he? Except the final ball, which drives you up the wall. You can see Lee Bowyer off his rocker on occasions because Hernandez did all the hard work and then just couldn't pull it back for somebody to tap it into the net. And, you know, their fullback is probably still having nightmares right now. So the flexibility that Lee Bowyer showed, I think it's been one of his positives this season. We're not just a 3 at the backside or a 4 at the backside or a team that plays the diamond. But I did think he was too negative in the first half for a home game against Hull, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Especially with not a lot riding on it, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, I think Sunic is better away from home, isn't he, than at home? You know, when like Bristol City away, he had a good game, didn't he? He played well, and when you want him to get stuck, what he's good at is winning the ball back for you, isn't he? When the chips are down a little bit, you know, and you're up against it. He's the kind of player you need in the team for that. But when you actually want to get the ball and attack teams and score goals, you know, and obviously we always want to score goals, but sometimes, you know, it's difficult, isn't it, when you can play the back. I think Ryan definitely a better option when you want to.
Okay, Craig, because you didn't go to the game, have you seen it?
I did. I mean, I can't say saw the highlights because there were no highlights, but I did. I kept up to date with the commentary that people were putting across, and it did seem as though at times we were on top. But I think, and Paul and Mark have both said it, we lacked that little bit of spark up front.
Craig, we lack that Conatini, that killer punch.
That complete right on the right. I think the thing for me was Hull had as much to kind of lose as we did going into that game. We were both in that same position where mathematically not safe, but should be. And I think it's that's perhaps why it ended up the way that it did. And unfortunately, I can see more of those as the
Frozen.
There we go.
There you go.
Craig's all emotional. He's stopped talking.
I'll give our team an incentive from the chairman.
Go on, man.
Try and finish above the Albion. That's what we should be looking at. Try and finish above the Albion.
That's a good call, actually, Alan. That's a good call, mate. Right, cool. Yeah. I mean, Middlesbrough, that's going to be a difficult ask tomorrow night. But you know what? When the better teams come along, we seem to up our game a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're eights. They're looking for a playoff position. They're not going to win the league, and they're not, obviously, but they are going to be rooting for that playoff place, and they're going to come to St Andrews, and they're going to attack us tomorrow night.
I think Richard's right when he says, with them coming at us, obviously, that'll probably, if we start Ryan Woods, that'll probably work to our advantage better, won't it? We'll be able to get more joy getting behind them.
Hey, Craig, you're back on, I think. Craig, you back there? You there, Craig? No. Okay. Yeah. It's sort of moving.
Needs to put 50p in the meter.
It's that Nokia.
He ain't got a 50p to his name, mate, believe me.
It's Nokia 3310. Come on.
Okay, can I ask a quick question for everyone? Okay, quick question. Sunich, would you, if we got a decent bid for him, would you get rid, or would you keep him?
Yeah.
Nah, I'll get rid personally. I just think he's a little bit of a loose cannon. You know what? He's got a Boston shot on him, a really good shot on him. But I don't know. You watch him and you think you shouldn't have been in that position. You should have been there, or
It depends what I think it depends what we're offered for him. He's certainly not worth what we paid for.
What did we pay for him, Paul?
Like 6.5 million.
He's our most expensive player.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be a Sunnish fan. I thought, the old Ratters in midfield gets stuck in, but he doesn't do that as successful, and his distribution is getting worse and worse. Win it, give it to give it to Bakuna, give it to anybody. Don't try and do it yourself.
No, you're dead right.
The ball and give it.
I agree with you, Richard. Your take on Sunich?
Yeah, he's a player who hasn't developed, and I think that's the real disappointment. He's still only 25, but for the money, you expect somebody who can pass the ball 50 yards, don't you? I think he has been wholehearted. I think at Bristol City, he ended the game playing at wing back because Hernandez was exhausted and played higher at the pitch, and Weimann had pulled out wide. So he's a great team man, but given they're trying to cut the salaries, and he'll have come in on good money given the fee that he was paid, I think you've got to listen to offers. It's a question of what you get for him. Would you settle for one? Would you settle for 1.5? I don't know.
Well, when you've paid 6, and that guy should be like busting his gut, he's £6.5 million, yeah? And that guy should be breaking his neck either to stay with the Blues or to get a decent transfer.
Yeah. But I think he is breaking his neck. I think he's doing his very, very best when he's on the pitch. The problem is there are things that he simply cannot do. And I think when he was signed nearly 3 years ago, the hope was that you could develop that part of the game, and it's not happened for him.
So do you think it's the players around him or just the situation?
I just think that's the player that he is. That's the player that he is. He's wholehearted. He's a ball winner. But you try and do anything more with him, then you're really going to struggle.
Yeah.
Do you think he's
good at putting the ball back for us? I'll give him that. But it's just, like you say, his passing can be, a bit off at times, can't it, to say the least?
Well, do you think he's cut out for English football? Or can you see him going back abroad?
That's a good point, Mark, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a moot point, isn't it? I just don't know who's got the money to pay for people now. You look at the fees this summer, I think are going to be very low around the Championship. Another Championship side going to sign Sunjic? I doubt it.
Here's a question: the player he replaced, Michael Clifton-Bell, is he better than him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Well, when he came, he was, yes. Now, I'm not so sure.
I know he was $6.5 million more than Michael Clifton-Bell, but
yeah, who was better value?
Clifton-Bell, yeah.
So, but anyway, Richard, let's go back to the beginning. Now, what got you into doing what you do, and tell us how it sort of came about starting a career as a radio presenter.
And how come you look so much like Daz Hale?
Yeah. Well, we insist on shaving our heads here, just so we can be mistaken for each other. In my case, just growing up in Birmingham, in South Birmingham, like I did, and waiting for the Sports Argus to come out each Saturday evening and poring over the results. Yeah, I've just loved football all my life, and I was a back garden commentator to the point that the neighbours got really irritated with me. Well, it's true. And then just I wanted to go into journalism, but I was really lucky to get some advice from George Gavin, who you'll remember from his days at RMB. In that I took over from him commentating on the Birmingham Bullets courtside at their home games at the basketball. And he knew I wanted to go into journalism, and he said, "You realise you've got to use your voice, don't you?" And that was like, really? Is that something that you can do? So it's just been a dream. So I've done nearly 30 years of it now. And it's the greatest job you can possibly have. I think I'm going to commentate on 70 games this. Wow. Who want to earn their living doing that? And it's something that I love. And the last 7 years has been covering Birmingham City. You lot know that's never dull. But I get the club. It was my dad's club. He cared about them, and the fact that it's when there's success for Blues, right? It means a whole lot more because of the weight. To be honest, it's not. Nobody supports Blues for the glory. No, it's pride, it's passion, it's in your blood, and so covering Blues is just as much as it's been irritating as well for the reasons that you've all lived with the owners and the frustrations. But it's just great, and to be able to talk about them with you guys today is a privilege as well.
Well, Richard, listen to this, Richard. Right, Lee Malin has just written a little accolade to you. Right, here you go. I think Richard has the best commentator's voice since the late pair, but utterly fantastic, Brian Moore and Hugh Johns. Wow.
That's very kind. That's very kind, isn't it? Yeah.
That has just come through from Lee Malin. Yeah. And you know what? I remember Hugh Johns as a child, right? Sunday afternoon, Star Soccer, and all this, that, and the other. And iconic voice, iconic. Yeah. Who was the guy who used to wear the big sheepskin coats as well?
Mutty.
Iconic voice. Yeah. Right? You have just been put up there with those people.
Well, I don't belong there. But actually, while I'm on it, and very kind of Lee to say that, but my hero was Peter Jones on the radio. On Radio 2, when he used to switch on in midweek evening, not even knowing whether the football was going to be on or not. And you heard him and his description of the events at Hillsborough, as tragic as they were, something that's made me fall in love even more with radio, because he summed up that day with a dignity that I could never even dream of doing. But he, lying in bed as a 9-year-old, listening to the football, trying to stay up late when my family wanted you to be asleep, listening to him was just unbelievable.
Another iconic voice, Tom Ross, of course, friend of the show. He's been on many times. Good old Tom Ross, love him to bits. He's amazing. He's brilliant. He's wonderful.
Richard, would you sort of have you got aspirations to be on the TV commentating on football as well?
No. I mean, that's passed me by anyway. Look, I'm in my 50s and I love radio. And the reason I love radio is it's always more immediate. There's the excitement. I mean, we've been blessed over the years on BBC Radio WM having the goal horn. The goal horn is one of those things that just makes hairs on your arm go up. Who scored? Who is it? Exactly.
Oh, no, it's Warsaw.
You can go wherever the story is happening in the click of a switch.
Yeah, that is quality. Yeah. Oh, dear.
Problem. Are you?
Sorry. Yeah. Go on, Mark, after you, sir.
I'm going to say problem with the goal horn. We just do that for a shot on target these days.
See, that's not fair. Until the weekend, they've been averaging about 1.7 goals per game since January. It's been a lot better. I mean, I've almost forgotten that Aitor Karanka was ever here.
Nicholas Wellsbury, bless him, just said Jordan Graham's a good player and Pedersen's up and down. I've got to say that Jordan Graham, he's my player of the season. I think he's played out of position and he's played so well every time he's played. You know, and it probably would have been Sarkic if he hadn't got injured the way he was playing before he got injured.
Yeah.
Jordan Graham is my player of the season.
The only problem I've got with Graham, I don't know if you saw it at the weekend, he's got chances he almost wants to hold back, and I know he's playing at wing back most of the time, but he's meant to be a winger normally, isn't he? So he should have the legs on him to get forward, but he almost hesitates to get forward, which is quite annoying at times, because we could launch something and get forward.
When he does put a cross in, though, it's usually a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the other problem. He does the same thing every time. He always cuts out onto the outside to try and whip it in.
Yeah.
So the defender knows what he's doing at that point.
Yeah.
More arcades coming in. Here we go. From Violet Stone, there are some really dull commentators these days, but the likes of Richard and Tom, there are voices you could listen to all day long. Fantastic. Keep right on. Superb. Brilliant.
And one thing to say, if I've got one thing in common with Tom is I just love doing the job. And that's why he's still doing it at his age, because
it oozes out of him, doesn't it?
In his blood. It's in his blood.
It oozes out of him. You know,
it does, yeah.
you could go to the Blues, right? Go to the back of bar 8 and the steps that he goes up into the Wiseman area and something, and you could just pick buckets full up of love and blues out of the streets, couldn't you?
Definitely.
Brilliant. Love him.
A bit surreal on Saturday going to the game with the amount of coverage we was getting on WM. Because obviously, I think there's only one of the two other teams playing in the West Midlands. I think on Saturday.
There's been no shortage of coverage in the last 7 years. Trust me.
Trust
me. You know,
that's all right.
Which other club's managing director have you heard come and do a phone-in recent years?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm doing my best to. You know, we're in a patch where it's very congested. I'm fighting to make sure that Blues get the coverage that you need on BBC Radio WM. So
it was all I was saying was I think, you know, there wasn't many other teams playing, was there? Because obviously them up the road played, I think it was, well, they played Sunday, didn't they, yesterday?
Yeah.
And there was only us in Coventry playing, weren't there?
Coventry,
Walsall played.
Did they? Right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
My train was full of Sutton United supporters. Amazing.
Hang on. Whoa, hang on. Full. Full.
Well, there was a lot of them.
Richard, what's George Lovin doing nowadays, mate?
That's a very good question. I couldn't tell you.
Right, okay. And what football team did he actually support?
I never worked with George. That's the thing. Because he was across the divide, if you like. So I spent all my time working with Franksy. But I did see a picture of George that made it look like he was a steward of a bowls club or something like that somewhere. So I don't know whether that's what he's done. No, genuinely, in recent weeks on social media, and it wouldn't surprise me because that keeps him involved with sport, doesn't it? Yeah. He was really good to me. So
he was. You know, again, another great voice, right? You could listen to him, and he was intelligent, and you know, and Birmingham City fans were not ringing in, but saying, "Oh, why don't you talk about the Blues?" Well, ring in. It's a phone in. Ring in. It's a phone in. Ring in. Have your say. Have your voice. And I've rung in quite a few times. I'll be honest with you.
I'm just counting. I had 10 phone callers on air on the phone in this evening. 5 were Blues. So we're cracking it. We're getting there.
But they've got if they don't ring in, they ain't going to hear the voice, are they? That's it. No. Simple. No. Simple.
The thing that got me last week.
Inundate Richard Wilford next week with Birmingham City phone calls. I want thousands of you to block the BBC network and be done with it.
But here's the thing. Last week, so Ian Dutton comes on as managing director. Now, whatever people are thinking at the moment about the owners or whatever, this is a positive. Yeah. And, you know, a few of the usual people have rung in and a few new voices have rung in, and we got 10 or 11 calls through on air. And then on social media, you've got all these people saying, "Oh, well, the questions were rubbish. The question was rubbish." You could have asked a question themselves, but they'll sit at home. Exactly.
Pick the phone up.
If you're not happy
Give me 3 rings.
Yeah. I mean, it might be that somebody wants to moan about not getting a Peaky Blinders scarf because that matters to them.
That was funny.
Just on that one.
On a slightly different note, can we please stop throwing projectiles on the pitch at Birmingham City Football Club, please?
Yes.
It's not good. It doesn't do anything for the cause, nothing whatsoever. Stop it. Thank you. Right. On to the next one.
Craig, you've got a question.
Oh, wow. It's more of a shout out to everybody that's listening. So we have 2 tickets for tomorrow evening that have been very kindly donated to us. And it's come from one of our listeners. And they're a season ticket holder, but they've actually won tickets themselves and decided that they wanted to donate it to ourselves. So thank you to Paul Lilly for the donation. But what we're going to do is a competition. And for those that are tuning in, watching us at this present moment, I want you to keep an eye out on the screens. And then by 9:15, can you message me on Facebook with who actually attended the show this evening? Because you will see some pictures changing over and some characters showing on screen. And all I want to know is who replaced the lads from the Tilton. And if you let me know, I will then choose a winner for those 2 tickets for tomorrow evening.
Good luck, everybody. Good luck, everybody. Richard, what's your take on the stadium situation?
Well, look, I was relieved when they held the event where I know, again, controversy, a selected number of fans went to see it, but that presentation could have been done 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
If they'd put on the website the pictures of the mess underneath the lower tilt, the lower cop, then I think we'd all have understood better that it wasn't humanly possible to clear those without major structural work. I believe they're going to put out a newsletter at the end of this week that will give further clarification. Hopefully, everything will be done early next season. I doubt they'll hit the start of next season. But if they've got to lift all the concrete out to clear the rubble that was underneath, then that's fair enough. It is an issue they've inherited. It could have been sorted a little bit quicker, but I'm not sure it could have been done really, really quickly, given that we were in COVID at the time. But I think there was a little bit of stalling by the old chief executive. But I do honestly believe that they are determined to get this done and to get everybody back in their proper seats as quickly as possible. But
I speak to people on a daily basis, right? And I've got Birmingham City tattoos on my arm. I don't know whether you can see that, blah, blah, blah. There's Boba and me, right? And they'll come into work and they'll say, "Oh, Blue Nose, you're a dirty Blue Nose." And I'll give them a bit of banter back, you know what I mean? And what's going on with your stadium? Well, apparently all the rubble and rubbish from the other one was just left underneath there and everything's rotted away. I don't get why the builders of the new stadium haven't been held responsible for it.
Do they still exist?
I have one theory on that. The guarantee for whatever time has elapsed. We're not insured anymore, basically. Whoever built it and gave it a 25-year guarantee, and it's 27 years now.
Do we know the company that built it? Let's name and shame them, because I don't care.
It was the same company that built Stoke and Middlesbrough and Sunderland and all these places.
Yeah. You've got to maintain it, haven't you, as you go?
Of course.
You have to have the
but Paul, sorry, mate, Paul, you don't build a stadium on top of rubble. On everything, all asbestos and everything that came down from the old cop, right? And all the wee sodden steps and everything have just been left under there for donkey's years, mate. You don't, you've got to do a professional job if you're going to get paid for it, surely.
I don't claim to be a building expert, but I'm not sure if they've just left the old stand there and built on top of it, though. To be honest, I think they. From seeing old photos, I think
they destroyed it, but they built it on top of the rubble. Left the rubble there.
Yeah. I don't know, to be honest. But...
I don't know, and I'm not a professional, so.
Yeah.
But it saddens me. It saddens me that Birmingham City, right, second biggest city in the country, we can't even open half our stadium, and them up the road are going to rebuild.
Let's just think that it could have been worse. Nothing tragic's happened, and it could have.
Absolutely. No, mate, I'll get that. I promise you.
And also, as well, we've picked it up now, and we're moving forward with it, and they're going to get it all sorted out. So let's just move. Let's just think forward rather than back with it.
I'm thinking forward, Paul. But the club have to keep us updated, and they're not doing it.
Well, I think they are, though, aren't they? And I say Ian Dutton updated us last week, talked about it, and they are putting out a newsletter this week. That was promised it would be by the end of this week, so you can judge on whether they do that. And when something starts, you'll see something start. I wouldn't be surprised if before the end of the season you see a little section that's lifted off because as they try to see whether that's going to work. Because what they don't know yet is if they lift the concrete structure, the steps out, as to whether that's going to fall apart or whether they'll be able to reuse it. And that's going to be one of the keys in terms of the timescale.
25 years, 27 years, sorry. And yet the main stand is still standing. It had a little bit of roof blown off in a Wolves game once, a long time ago, but it's still there.
Well, the main stand's been there for 116 years.
No, the main stand will be there for another 516 years if Ray Albro has his way.
Paul, it was built in 1954.
It was, 54.
1906, sorry.
No.
There was the one that got burnt down in the war was before that one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No, it needs to be knocked down, to be honest.
No.
It does.
No, you're really going to upset Ray Albro. You're going to upset Ray
I really
Albro.
don't care. I don't care.
That was Chris Browne's statement, not mine, Ray. I know I owe you a pint, mate, and I'll give it you as soon as I see you. But that was Chris Browne's statement, not mine.
It is a dinosaur, though, isn't it? When you look at the stadium, you know, the railway end and the Cop and Tilton are okay on the eye, whereas you've got that stand there. It's just an eyesore, isn't it?
Okay on the eye, but not okay on the structure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nick, just on the points of the stadium and being kept up to date, I guess the one thing for myself is what I want to hear is actually what's going to happen. What I don't want to hear is we're still waiting, because that sows the seed of doubt that something is going to happen.
100%.
So I think I'd rather wait another couple of weeks and hear, ladies and gents, we've not only got a person, but this is what's going to happen.
Or Craig, we've now secured the first part of the Tilton. We're working on the second. That's what we want to understand, right? Oh man, it's our home.
I think that came out from Ian last week, though, was that we've not only got the project manager, but we've now secured a party to do the work. The next part is tell the fans what's actually going to happen. And Richard, I think you're right. Two reasons why I think we'll see a little bit being removed. Your point exactly, but also show the people.
But it is a question from me. Would we rather wait another 3 or 4 months, or even 6 to 8 months, and have safe standing, or would we rather have it resolved quicker and have just seats again?
Safe standing any day of the week.
Hey, I'll tell you what, give me the old cop back, crying out loud. When I was a boy.
Apparently people were there today doing investigative works.
No, I'm sure, look, Chris, I'm sure things are going on, right? But the club did promise us, was it 3 weeks ago, that we're going to have an update, and we haven't had that proper update, right?
I think Craig can answer that.
Go on, Craig.
Sorry, go on, Craig.
No, I was just going to say, Ian came across on the show with Richard last week and gave, as much update as he could at that point in time. We've been in touch to try and find out, because quite rightly, as you raised last week, Nick, we need to hear. And I think what we will get within the next couple of weeks is more of an update. But I think it does again come down to that. If they drip feed information, all it's going to do is rile people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As it was.
So why then, Craig, don't we come up with a plan? So why don't we come up with a plan where every 2 weeks there's an official update? An official update every 2 weeks, right?
All you're arguing about is time, though.
In writing. Sorry.
All you're arguing about is timing. They've said they're going to update once a month. You said it's been 3 weeks. Well, guess what? They've said there's going to be an update at the end of this week. So really, all you're quibbling about is
they said, Richard, they were going to update us 3 weeks ago, and that hasn't happened. It didn't happen.
All I know is I've got a lot more faith now with Ian Dutton as the MD.
Yes, I have, Paul. I promise you.
Yeah. Craig, are we allowed to tell people that Ian's coming on the show, or should not tell people yet?
No, you shouldn't tell anybody. It's a secret.
There's a slight hint. No, we've been in touch with Ian, and following on from the show on WM last week, we have asked Ian to join us on Tilton Talk. We are working on some dates at this present moment, and Ian is hopeful that not only himself, but maybe some other people from the management will also join us for that particular show.
Great God.
And do you know what, Craig? That is amazing, because me, you, Chris Browne, we started this 11 years ago. We have had no interaction with our football club whatsoever, right? Our highest audience, 97,600, I remember it well, right? Around the world, even in Warrington. People in Warrington listen to us, right?
Crew,
yeah, and Crew, yeah. That's the most place to do it. They should embrace us, right? Because and Richard, I'm really not being disrespectful here. We are not a WM. We are fans. We are fans, right? And we speak our minds. And I'm sure you do as well, mate. But, like, not only do we speak our minds, people on the shout box speak their minds as well. And we ask the questions for them.
Unfortunately.
I'm hardly going to take offence to that, because I think it's really important what you're doing. Really important, because
bless you, that's really kind, mate.
With a club. And I think the fact that Ian will come is brilliant, because he's backing up his words with actions, which and this needs to continue. It'll be judged in 12 months' time. If the club are still doing that, and if they're still reaching out, then that's where they're really going to be making a difference. But he should, because you'll deal with him in a respectful way as well.
Of course.
You've got 11 years under your belts that people know that you're going to treat them with respect. So
no different to you, no different to Robbie Savage, no different to Lee Bowyer when we interviewed him. By the way, Richard, is a story for you. Chris Browne, I'm not going to take credit. Chris Browne asked Lee Bowyer, he said, this was a week before he was employed by Blues, he said, if the chance ever came back to manage Birmingham City Football Club, would you take it up? And he said, never say never. And then I replied, I'll see you in a week. 1 week later, that man was Birmingham City's manager. Woohoo!
We're having that.
And that's, sorry, Paul, that's team effort, mate. That's not me and Chris, that's team effort. I don't do me and I don't do you.
Can you get Matty Sarkic on as next week's guest then?
Come on, Paul.
I was just going to say, if you're wondering why he was speaking to us a week before he was in pod, it's because it was the 10th anniversary of the Carling Cup last year.
Yeah, it was.
Show.
Yeah.
That was a great show, that was.
But we had him and Roger Johnson on, so that was a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show.
What, Mark?
I can enjoy it.
We are the Daleks.
Your mic's gone strange.
Don't tell Mr. Stallone. I'm Cameron Jerome.
Richard, we did tell you it was going to be relaxed, didn't we? There's no pressure on this show, mate. We're just people that love our football club, right? And love our football family, and we're all friends together. Now, I know she's a bit older. It probably took her a while to get here, but Auntie Linda came up to see me on Sunday. Me and old Shaz, right? And she brought little Jack with her, and I cooked dinner. Well, most of it. Sharon did the taters because I was knackered, tired. Sorry.
Can't say knackered.
And I'm disturbed to say that Jack was sitting beside me here, literally here, right? Jack was sitting here, there, and he said, "My mum watches the Villa games."
What?
My nan watches the Villa games.
Oh no!
That's Auntie Linda. Huh? That's Auntie Linda. And Jack, right? I go, okay. I cooked a pork joint in the slow cooker for, I think it was nearly 16 hours, right? Bay leaves, herbs, French mustard all over it, 2 pints of cider in it. And Jack said, that's the best meat I've ever tasted in my life. Now, when I make some people call it gravy. I will call it a sauce because I think a little more professional than gravy, right? Oh, gravy! It got all this. Oh, it was like Jack kept calling it gravy. He wouldn't have it that it's a sauce. But how nice of those two lovely people to come up here and spend a day with us. And they're just, again, this is what it is. It's family. It's part of your family. Sorry, Chris. The set's just fell down.
Oh, can see your hand up.
You got a couple of questions there for Richard, haven't you, from Adam?
I certainly have. Yeah. Okay, Richard is the first one.
I hope they're not about cooking after what I just did.
I switched off anyway. What was the first game you commented on? That's the first question.
First game I commentated on?
Yeah.
Commentated, not commented. Yeah. Commentated.
He's
only got one job, Richard.
It's my writing.
There's a lot of syllables in that. Certainly, I remember the first Blues game I commentated on was an away win at Plymouth, which I did with Adrian Goldberg. I wouldn't let him drive.
Why?
He'd only just passed his test.
Oh, right.
He drove with his glasses up against the windscreen at this point. A much better driver now. Steve Claridge certainly got at least one of the goals on that occasion, but I think it was it a promotion season? It was the season that the Blues went up under Barry Fry.
Yeah,
that was my first Blues commentary game.
91, 92, yeah. And also, this is a good question as well. What was the most awkward interview you did?
Most awkward interview? Oh, gosh.
Please say it's a Villa player.
I was going to kind of stick with Blues. I mean, there have been some awkward ones with managers of other clubs at times. Actually, the one with Blues that was both awkward and great at the same time was with Steve Cottrell. After an awful performance at Barnsley, the away defeat at Barnsley in December, and I asked him the question, having seen that performance today, are you still convinced that you're the man that can get this team out of trouble? And he just stared at me, and we actually timed the silence. The silence was 8 seconds, and off the back of it, I said, I'll take that as a yes then. And then he gave me a perfectly good answer. But all the other journalists, and it was one of these scrums at Barnsley, where all the local South Yorkshire guys are there thinking, oh, there's going to be trouble here. But actually, it worked really well. And when I sent the interview back to play on the programme, I said, keep that silence, because it was the best part of the interview, frankly. It made more sense.
What was it like interviewing Dong, Richard? Because you've interviewed Dong, haven't you?
Interviewing Dong, that was it only took 3 years to persuade him to do it. It's interesting because people like to say, "Oh, Richard was Dong's friend." No, I just didn't fall out with him. So I was the one journalist that he talked to, which meant taking phone calls when he was feeling miserable at weekends or stuff like that. Because I think it's really important that somebody's got a line of communication with whoever's running the club at the time, and it wasn't easy to get along with him, but eventually I think things had got so low for him that he felt the need to do the interview, because the issues with the stadium were one of the things, and I knew that his patience would run out after about 20 minutes. So I appreciate you'll always get criticised for the questions that you ask in a situation like that, but I wanted to get through as many different areas as I could, knowing that I've got to do it in 15 or 16 minutes. The thing that the reward at the end was bizarrely the fact that he got into trouble, didn't he? Because he gave very specific numbers about the projected profit and loss and that sort of thing. And they ended up, Birmingham Sports Holdings ended up getting their wrist slapped by the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for what he said in the interview, but he was determined to say it. I just know that you're on a hide into nothing when you're interviewing somebody like that, because I can't ask the questions in the way that a lot of Blues fans would want to do it, because he'd just shut up. You'd lose after 2 minutes. It'd be right. I'm not doing any more of this. So it's a difficult thing to do, but at least somebody finally answered some questions. But that took 3 years. So the difference between that and what you're experiencing now with Ian Dutton being open as MD, with Craig Gardner being very open as technical director as well, with Troy joining him at Yardley. I mean, it's a huge difference. Again, if they can sustain it, it's a positive.
You know what, Richard, we're getting Birmingham City people back in Birmingham City jobs, right? And then they took them out about 4 years ago, whatever, right? But we're now getting people who've got Birmingham City Football Club at heart, working for the club.
Which puts us nicely on to the employment of Paul Tate as player mentor, which is great. appointment.
Yeah, what a great appointment.
But what
Absolutely
a
fantastic.
great role to have within.
What a
the
nice bloke as well. What a nice
Oh,
bloke.
he's a great bloke.
Take your Ravon, hello.
You know what? If there's an ex-player that deserves that role, it's got to be Tatey.
Right, Richard, go on, Paul.
If Ian Dutt's listening to this, I want them replica T-shirts from 1995. Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, with
What do you
1995 prices.
You are a tight git, you are.
Right, Richard, I'm going to slightly change tack a little bit now, right? Okay, with the things that are going on around the world and the sanctions that have been put on Russian billionaires, which, however this country allowed that to happen, that's another question for another day, perhaps. Chelsea Football Club have been sanctioned from top to bottom. They can't sell tickets, they can't sell merchandise. And the Football League and the Premier League have said they're going to clamp down on ownership of football clubs so that we know who owns our football club. We don't know who owns our football club. There's bits here, there's bits there, there's bits everywhere. How can we solve this problem?
Yeah, it's almost impossible, isn't it? Because things have gone too far that way, in that the money, the way that the Premier League has exploded and the fact that it's the richest league in the world, you can't move all these owners on. You can't reclaim clubs just because the government's decided, well, this is no longer a good thing. Because people have invested huge amounts of money. But it is a really untidy situation. Fans need to have a voice. Because when these things happen, we could all think, well, Chelsea, they've enjoyed the wealth of Abramovich for all these years. They've won all these titles because of this dirty cash from Russia. But the people actually who are going to be hurt are the fans. It always is the fans, whether it's what's going on at Derby County now, whether it's what happened at Bury. They're all very different circumstances. I don't know how you get rid of owners like that. I don't know how you necessarily get clarity. Blues aren't the only club that it's hard to work out who really holds the purse strings. Oh
God, no, I agree totally. But you know what? We've only got Blues at heart, really, right?
Exactly.
And when we look at a barber, my son's a barber, right? My son has got a barber shop in Derby, right? My son is a barber. He could not afford to buy Birmingham City Football Club for 82 million quid.
No.
Where the hell was the checks and balances put in? And who should be responsible for it?
But who can? The EFL can't. The EFL is a tiny organisation. It really is. They just haven't got people that can do things like that. If you've got the cash, you're in. And that's been the way for a huge number of years, hasn't it? And again, how do you change that? As long as you can prove you've got funds until the end of the season and you put the cash in. And I would share many of the misgivings about the current owners that you guys have. Absolutely would. However, there are one or two things that we shouldn't also forget in that, in terms of whether they're legitimate or not, they spent 2 years putting money into this club before they owned it to try and get through the voluntary administration period to untangle the mess left behind by the previous owners, who, whatever they achieved with the Carling Cup and going to Europe, were certainly no better and probably worse because, proven to be criminal, an element within it. So we mustn't forget that those 2 years that they invested time-wise and money-wise before the takeover tells us that they've got to be reasonably serious about what they're doing. But
it was dirty money. Dirty money.
But the current owners, we've got no idea whether it is or not. We don't know where the money's come from.
Yeah, I know, I get you. Yeah.
And that's the difficulty, and that's what's so frustrating. And when you see Daniel Ivory digging deep and trying to find out things in the way that he's done so extraordinarily well over the years, and he finds lots of dead ends as well. It would be great to have clarity, but I don't know how the government enforce that because Blues would still say, well, look at Von Peck, Paul Schwen, they own the vast majority of the club, but they've got no interest in football. It would be lovely to know from somebody senior, somebody above Ian Dutton, somebody above Edward and Shane who are here because they're not in any power, what their actual intention is for Birmingham City Football Club. And not just saying, we want to be in the Premier League. What is the intention and what is your exit strategy?
Richard, do you know what? From every single Birmingham City fan up and down this country, we just want our club back. That's all. Nothing else, nothing more. We want our club back, running as a business, as, you know what, like back in the 70s, we knew who the chairman was. Chairman's never used to speak back then, not ever. right?
No.
But we knew who they were, and we knew what the club was about. And we knew what the strategic approaches was, and one thing about. But like now, it's just like, what? Who owns the corner flags? I ain't got a clue.
Did anyone for the and this is to all our viewers, did anyone try the street food at the stadium on Saturday? And if you did, just put your rating out of 10 in the comments. Tell us what you rating out of 10, because to me, I've only seen pictures of it, but it looked delicious to me.
Smelled nice. I didn't get around to buying any, but I'm a bit tight.
all well and good, but sorry, football is about burgers, not dogs.
Yeah.
Richard,
Street food. Greek street food at football is a disgrace. I want pucker pies, I want sausages, and I want beef burgers, mate. Nothing else. Crazy.
Anyway, isn't it still?
Go on, Paul, say it again.
I was just saying all that's still in the kiosks. This was just the stands outside the stadium. They put one outside each stand, haven't they?
Yeah, but why take away all of our burger stalls outside? And it's part of your experience. You know, you arrive, you park your car, and then you can hear the crowd. You walk up, and then you can smell the burgers, and then you can hear.
So this from the man who insists on calling his gravy sauce. You can't have it both ways.
Oh, Wilford, you've done me.
that was a Wilf bomb.
A Wilf bomb.
Richard, we've actually had
oh my God,
quite a few comments coming through and questions as well on the shout box, but one to shout out here. So, listening to the interview with Ian, the first caller that came through last week was a gentleman who, quite rightly, was highlighting the concerns in and around the disability area and experience. One particular one that stands out: the toilets.
Yeah.
Well, there's been some feedback on this to say the club definitely listened, because on Saturday, not only were they a lot better in terms of cleanliness, but all the lights had been fixed and the different areas raised had been worked on. So again, it's an example of they come on, they make a promise, and Ian's taken that away and got it completed.
Oh, well and good, Craig. Why should they be like that in the first place? And why should our disabled supporters be made to sit at the front of that stadium in the rain? Disgraceful from any football club. And Cardiff were the worst when I was there. Man, I've still got the poncho in my bedroom. I promise you.
I had to laugh at the before the game. We got there about sort of 2:20, and there wasn't many in then. And I was sort of speaking to my dad and a friend of my dad's as well, just leaning up against the railings in the club, you know, just above the bottom tier. And the K2 guy comes up to me and says, "You can't lean on there, mate." So I said, "Oh, okay, no worries." So I've stood up. I've gone back to
Really?
The whole of the game, the guy who told me I couldn't lean against the railings was leaning against the railings, watching the game.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
Why, Paul? Did you not photograph him?
I couldn't. I couldn't bother. I was watching the game, Nick. I was too busy with the exciting match. It was.
Yeah.
And the street food.
Yeah.
Take your street food and shove it. Right. Bring back our burgers, our hot dogs, and our pies.
Ray said the next thing we'll be moaning about paying £9 for a wrap. Oh my God!
Oh, a wrap! Oh, Ray, how posh are you? I bet you get out of the bath, have a wee in the sink every week.
So anyway, Richard, have you done your 1 to 11, mate?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey, time's pressing.
Yeah, no, it's important that we don't hang Craig out to dry and say that you forgot to tell me to do it. I mean, because
no.
That'd be wrong. That would just be wrong.
So do you judge this as it goes along? Do you want it done slowly or do you want it done quickly?
So
Your own speed.
Maybe tell us about your favourite players as you go. I mean, I know they're all your favourite players, but the real standout ones, maybe, you know, and then
it's an eclectic mix. You know what I mean? So, in goal, over all the years from when I first saw a game in '77, the one that I've enjoyed most is Ian Bennett.
Without doubt, yeah.
I love Benno. One of my favourite stories was turning up on deadline day when the club were training at the Civil Service Ground at Elmdon. Yeah. And I was hoping to talk to Ian Bennett that day, but he'd been linked with a move. And Barry Fry was there. And I said to Barry, is Benno here? Can I have a chat with him? He said, oh, he's not here today. I said, well, where is he? He said, well, there's a bit of interest in him, so I've bunged him 500 quid and sent him to the races. So just the perfect way to deal with deadline day. But I just thought, if he'd been 2 inches, 3 inches taller, he probably would have been a Premier League goalkeeper for quite a long time, Ian Bennett.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's where I'm going there. My two fullbacks, and I reckon these are probably quite popular with people that you have on the show, but it tells you a little bit about the time that I was going down a lot with my dad and standing on the cop, would be David Langan and Mark Dennis. David Langan, just the classiest fullback that I've seen in a blue shirt, really, and getting up and down the flank. And Mark Dennis, we all know what he could have been. You know, just if he hadn't had the reputation he had, he was as good a left back as there was in the country at the time. Unbelievable player. So those two are there for me. One of the centre backs is from the same era, but the other one who I'm having captain the side is Kenny Cunningham.
What a player.
Rolls-Royce player. Yeah.
That's a great description. Actually, I wish I'd said that. He was. He made the game look easy because he read it, and he was mentally 2 yards ahead of the attacking team. But I'd pair him with Colin Todd, who I know wasn't with Blues for long, but again, it was a real formative time for me watching football, and to have him at that point in his career was just tremendous. So he fits in my back four. Centre mid, hard not to pick Barry Ferguson. I just you've got to have somebody from the Carling Cup triumph, and I think he was the best of the midfielders in that group. But I'm pairing him with Kevin Dillon, who is another player who I think if he'd played for more fashionable clubs would have got a bit of a nod when it came to England. I think terrific. I like wide players, and unfortunately I've got two who are right-footed, but Alan Ainscough got me off my seat. Well, not off my seat. I was on the terrace, but had me jumping up and down more than most wingers that I've seen at Blues. But also I've got a real soft spot for Chris Burke. And again, it's to have somebody associated with the European campaign. I think he's quite fitting. And I think Chris Burke was a terrific player at a time when Blues actually financially didn't have an awful lot to invest. And then a front two, and again, it shows when my dad was bringing me down for one of them, which is, I can't not include Frank Worthington. I was about 9 years of age when he started playing for Blues, and it opened my eyes to the way that the game can actually be played. But I am going to pair him with the one modern player on my list, not currently with the club, but Shay Adams. Now, Shay Adams, for me, is a great example of what hard work achieves, in that he had a summer, rededicated himself to the game, moved to the city, got himself down the gym, worked really hard with James Beattie in pre-season, and became the Premier League and international striker that he is now. And I admire that in somebody. And I just also remember that goal, a brilliant goal he scored at Swansea on transfer deadline night, where he kisses the badge to say, I'm staying here till the end of the season. Because he knew that they were under pressure to sell him. He knew that the EFL wanted him to go there and then, but the club made more money because he stayed till the summer. So a lot of respect for what Shay Adams did, both on and off the pitch for Blues.
Yeah, I've been crying out for James Beattie to come back and work with these players we've got now as an attacking coach, because that was our high scoring season since the Chris Hughton campaign. When Gary Monk was here for that season with James Beattie.
Yeah. Where is James Beattie at the moment?
He is working.
Still on gardening leave,
Wigan at the moment.
Wigan, yeah. They scored a lot of goals, don't they?
Yeah. Rich, captain is Kenny Cunningham. Captain, is he?
Yeah, I've gone with Kenny Cunningham over Barry Ferguson. I just think Kenny's somebody just led by example. There was something about him as a character, as a personality, that you would follow him into the trenches. So, again, this is just a generational thing, but the most entertaining football that I've seen Blues play was under Jim Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
I just loved that team. They were a great side to watch. And I remember the two Dutch wingers who came under him, Brocken and Van Mierlo as well. They're already there briefly, but with Worthington and Watmore, there was some terrific times under Jim.
But just coming back onto Chris Burke, I saw an advert that the Flying Scotsman's coming to Birmingham at some point, and I thought, wow, is Chris Burke coming back?
Ooh.
He's still playing. He's still playing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hibs. Hibs. Oh, yeah,
Michael Woods has asked Richard, who's your manager?
Yeah, I just said there, Jim Smith.
Jim Smith. People.
Sorry, I answered for you then, Richard. I knew the answer.
Well, it's still true. It means you were paying attention, which is good. I'll take that.
It's very rare, but there you go.
Nick was multitasking at the time. He was looking to see if he's got granules for next week's sauce.
Can you imagine?
Actually, to be honest with you, I was picking my nose.
Can you imagine though having Berkey and Stan in the same squad? Lazaridis.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
the old-fashioned wingers, you know.
Yeah, characters as well.
Well, I enjoyed Devlin and Lazaridis down the flanks.
And Devs, yeah.
And shall we do the squad game?
Oh yeah! Just before we do the squad game, I haven't got a theme tune ready for that.
Please don't pick me. Don't pick me.
Just before that, there's a question for Richard just coming from Violet Stone. She says, "For all those great legends, that have died and wore the shirt, if you could have one interview with them, any of them, who would it be?"
Cool. I think it would probably, for me, be Gil Merrick. Partly because I seem to recall a story, and sadly my dad's not with us anymore, but I've got a feeling he ended up being my dad's PE teacher at some point at the end of his career. There was some connection that I can't quite work out. But
he was a physical instructor in the army, Gil was.
Okay, that may be where the connection is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't ask my dad now, but I think, in terms of bygone heroes, I think Gil, and I love goalkeepers, and I think Blues have had some tremendous goalkeepers over the years. As much as I've chosen Benno, I love players like Jeff Whelans when he was in goal, Tony Coton, David Seaman briefly. I mean, there've been so many great keepers, so I think it would be great to catch up with Gil.
Wow.
Lindsay Marie's asking, who would Richard have as a statue at the ground?
Me.
that was a bizarre one when Ian Dutt was in last week, when somebody reckoned they should have one of Harry Lauder, which is it's kind of all well and good, but
absolutely brilliant. That would be you know what, Richard, we should have about 10 statues all the way down the back of the car.
Yeah,
that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And you at the end with the bowl of gravy.
Exactly. It's called sauce.
Oh, sorry. It's not a jus. No.
We've had one or two. We've had one or two playing centre half over the years.
Next week's episode is sponsored by Bisto.
Of course, ladies and gents, all the good products of gravy are available.
Yeah. Paul.
Not from Nick.
Sauce. Sorry, sauce.
Where's Craig gone?
His internet's knackered. It's set for Nokia 3310. He just can't get it working.
3310.
Paul, your video's gone off as well, Paul.
I'm just sorting myself out for this squad game.
Okie dokie. So do you want to tell Richard the rules? I forgot.
Yeah. So
all the rules.
You've got 30 seconds, and we want you to tell us how many players you think you can name. But first, before we start doing that, who's going up against him?
Not me.
Come on, Mark. Have you heard of it?
I did the first one. Do you want me to do another one?
No. I'm going to go for Watto.
Okay. Can you give me 71, 72 again? Because that I could have got 20 in that.
No, you're not allowed to name. I was fine last week. You're not allowed to name your season.
No.
Okay, so it's Richard up against Alan then, and who wants to go? So who's going first? Heads or tails? Chris, you got a coin?
Oh, I'm not ready, am I?
Chris, I've got no money. He's poor.
Okay.
Toss a shilling.
Richard,
heads or tails?
Heads.
It's tails.
Okay, Alan, first or second?
I'll go first. Get it over with.
Get it out of the way.
So the season is 1994-95 season, which Richard mentioned earlier on, the season that we got promoted under Barry.
Hang on. Did we get promoted that year?
We did.
Yeah, 94-95, Alan. Barry Fry did the double.
Oh, Barry Fry's team. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
So you got 30 seconds.
I got 55 to pick from.
How many? Yeah. So how many players do you think you can name?
Well, I'll go 7, just to be on the. Yeah.
Okay, so Richard, when it's your go, if you beat 7, obviously you've won on this, but it's not the same season. I'm going to give you a different season.
Okay. I'll be grateful if I get any, but I'm not going to get my season. But yeah.
Okay. So, Chris, are you ready to time 30 seconds?
On your marks, Alan. Get set. Go.
Cooper, Frayne, Ward, Francis, Hunt, Ricky Otto, Paul Tate, Louis Donowa, Steve Claridge. I'm struggling.
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Think of another one.
3, 2, 1.
Regis.
Oh, yeah, he's got one in at the end there.
Oh, we'll have that one then. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you that. So you got 10, Alan. Well done. 10.
Thank you.
Hey, I got it up to 13.
You got to beat 10, basically.
Oh,
you got to get 10 or you got to get 11 or more, basically, to win. And if you get 10, obviously, it's a draw.
So what was the relevance of him predicting 7? Was that just him throwing it away?
Yeah.
That was him being pessimistic.
Exactly.
The last time I did it, I predicted 10 and only got 4.
I'll be glad if I get 1 because I have terrible trouble aligning years with people. So
Wow. I said, get your excuses in first, Richard.
No, I just do. It's a sign of age. But what can I say?
So, Richard, you've got 1906, 1907.
Nice.
Your season, Richard, is more recent than Alan's was, and it's 2004, 2005. Okay, so it was when we had a bit of a Galactico era in the Premier League, when we signed players that you would never imagine putting on a blue shirt. So yeah, how many do you can now?
I know one.
I think the Galactico thing might have given us a bit of a clue, but
okay.
I'm going to struggle horribly with this because I won't even know whether I'm right when I say one. I don't know. I might get 3 or 4, but I can't honestly. 4 or 5, long time ago, isn't it?
Go for 5.
So yeah, so if you get 11, basically you've won, and obviously anything less than 10, and Alan's
You'll have to tell me whether they're right as I go because I won't have a clue
course,
whether they are or not.
Of course I will. Yeah. So,
On your marks, get set, go.
Well, I'm presuming do Gary because you said Galactico, so maybe not.
Gary had gone by then, sadly.
Had he?
Oh, had he?
Yeah.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah.
That's the only one I was going.
Okay. Jeff Kenner still around then? No. We didn't have Pandiani by then, did we?
Yeah.
All right. Pandiani, Pennant.
Yeah.
Clements.
Yeah.
Lazaridis, is it too late for Lazaridis?
5 seconds to go.
He's in. Cunningham maybe still there. No,
There we
Stephen
go.
Kelly by then, was there? No.
Well done. That's got 5. You got 5.
Well, it's not a disaster, was it?
That wasn't a disaster.
Not a disaster.
Well done, Alan, though. You won there.
Yeah.
You got 10.
Yeah, well done.
It's much easier when you've got a team in your head that went to a final. You can name 6 or 7 straight off without thinking, and then you start. But just to be that particular season, it's very hard because it wasn't that much different to the season before or the season after.
Yeah. Was Yuri Yarosik in that season or not?
No, that was the season.
That was it.
Season before.
That was 05, 06.
Close though, close.
Yeah. We was around that time.
All right, so Craig.
Like York, you could have said Darren Anderton. You could have said Mady Nafty, Darren Carter, David Johnson,
Robbie Blake.
So Melchior as well.
David Dunn.
Upson.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can happily say that wasn't the worst performance, Richard. So
No, you don't.
I'll take that. I'll take
no,
that.
it's okay. I think it puts you second from bottom. But,
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, Richard, is relegation for.
but me and Nick haven't had a go yet. So
You've got to be next week.
You're going next week.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should. Nick.
It'll probably be 0-0 like Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to have to gel up.
I'll have a go. But
I'll have a go. I'll have a go.
Don't know the hopes. Don't know the hopes.
I probably know.
Okay, so it's Birmingham City versus Middlesbrough tomorrow. What's your predictions, Alan Watto?
2-0
2
to Birmingham.
Right. Okay. Right. Chris Browne.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1.
Mark Adams.
I'm going to go for an entertaining 1-1. I'll take it.
Mr. Hipkiss.
I'm going to go 1-0.
Richard, let's go for you, sir.
Look, teams we've done well against away, we've done well against at home. So I'm going to go 2-1 Blues.
Right, okay. And Craig?
He's not there.
Oh, Oliver?
Well, Oliver.
I'll go 2-1 as well. I'm just not looking forward to the draw, to be honest.
Right. For me, Middlesbrough at 8, they're begging for a place in the playoffs. don't knock me down. I just don't think we're going to get anything out of it at all. I think 1-2 to Middlesbrough.
Okay.
And that's not my Birmingham City head on, that's my football head on.
But don't forget, Middlesbrough have got a cup tie at the weekend as well, haven't they?
I know.
Yeah, got caught by, haven't they?
That's right. Yeah. They're on a bit of a run, aren't they, in the cup?
Yeah, I'll get that, Alan. Right here.
Okay, so Stephen Gill's gone for Blues 1-0. Lindsay's gone 3-1. Ray's gone 2-1 Borough. Violet's gone 2-1 Borough. Michael's gone 2-1 Blues. 3-0 Blues, says Nigel. 2-2, Dave Twine. Linda Magna's gone 2-1 Blues. So, even Stevens, maybe? Yep.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're down to, only a few games left. I can't believe we've only got 9 games.
9 games, yeah.
Yeah.
Flown by, hasn't it? This season's flown by.
Yeah.
And we got some right tasty games, really. We've got the Albion, Coventry, we've got Forest away. We've got some tasty games.
Yeah.
It's looking very ominous for Derby at the minute, isn't it? I know it's not Blues, but look, we've got to talk about the league. We've got, talk about our league that we're in. We're like, wow. One of my favourite away games, Derby.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get VAR in the Championship, Richard, next season? I've heard talk of it, but I don't know how official it is or what the sort of updates are on.
There's managers chunching about it at the moment. It's about whether people can invest in it and pay for it, because there are small clubs who can't necessarily put it in. The EFL hasn't got a lot of money around. It has to be said that I'm incredibly anti-VAR anyway. So in a way, I'm never going to be an advocate for it. I hate what it's done to the game of football. I really don't think it helps at all. So, and given actually what you said earlier about ownership and all this sort of thing, this game has been so changed by money, and the main justification that people give me for VAR is, well, that could cost that club £1 million because they missed out on the playoffs. But if money is the main motivator, just keep the game pure. Referees are human, and actually the percentage difference of correct decisions through VAR is so small, and you sat in front of the telly still disagreeing with them at home. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wish we'd have had it with AJ in Cardiff. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Have we got a last 15, Mr.
We've got a last
Nick?
15 minutes, and ladies and gentlemen, because we've had a little bit of a subject going on tonight, we're going to go for any kind of street food and football. Any kind of street food and football. I'm going for a person that has been on the Tilton Talk Show, and she was absolutely lovely, and she overcame cancer, catching a hamburger.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, been thinking about that one, haven't you?
All night, Chris. I'm surprised I can remember it.
Okay, so the last 15 is food.
Anything to do with street food.
Street food
or takeaways. Anything you buy in a takeaway or street food.
Here we go. Otter dog.
Oh God, no! Otter comes out every week.
Pizza on love.
Pizza what?
Pizza on love. Pizza on love.
Pizza. Oh, right, okay.
Who did that one?
Mark.
On me.
On his own. Well done.
On my own.
I'm struggling here.
Walter Panda Nanny.
Nani.
Yeah, Walter Panda Nanny.
He'd have been better as Walter Deep Pandiani.
Oh.
Well done. Patrick Berger.
Yeah. I've already used the burger one though.
Yeah, Perry Groves.
Oh.
Love that.
This Richard is where I usually wee myself on a Monday night. Oh God.
Brilliant.
Groves. Oh my God.
Here we go. Phil Kebab.
What? Sorry.
Phil Kebab. Tony Curry. Paulo One Chop. Nacho Novo.
Oh my God.
What about Vindaloo Macari?
Chicken tikka masala. Here we go.
I'm done.
Tikka masala. Brilliant, that is.
If you haven't got it yet, Dilly had a burger and a bowl of chips.
No, I've got to go and have a wee. Dilly had a bowl of buggers. Who did that one?
That's Violet. That one is here.
Oh my God.
Stand cauliflower. Delia had a bowl of curry. Pulled pork tight.
Paul Tater. Paul Jacket Tater. Oh, Kenny Jacket Tater. I'll go for that one.
Declan chicken tikka and rice.
Who did that?
Here's a good one. I like this one. He's thought about this. Ronando.
Yeah.
I don't get that one. Ronando. Nando's. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Lucas Supovic. Pukovic. Puka.
Oh God!
What line this week, Richard? You got?
Actually, so I was just going to add to that. I was going to go for David Fairclough because he was always a sub.
That's too subliminal.
There you
You
go.
know,
David Fairclough.
our audience aren't that clever.
You know what, though, Richard? Right, that guy, like he would come on and score a goal for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the days that you only had the one substitute, you had to just about do anything. But he used to come on and score all the time, didn't he?
Can I just say as well, it's been nice. It's been nice to see the last 2 weeks on the old big match revisited. We've been on twice.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Everton away last week, we lost, and then they showed the Forest Classic. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Richard, you got a busy week ahead this week now?
Me? What have we got? We got got Blues tomorrow and the trip to Swansea at the weekend. So yeah, lots of notes to do, lots of interviews to do. Lebo generally doesn't do a press conference before a midweek game, so he'll do something probably around Thursday.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I love a week with a trip to look forward to as well. And Swansea's a long way, but nice time of year to go over there.
Right, Richard, we've got about 12 minutes left, mate. Right, okay. Talk us through quickly, if you could, what your preparation is for okay, let's go for an away game. What your preparation is for an away game so that you've got everything in front of you. Because, like, I have tried to turn my TV off and comment on a game, and I'm lost. I'm completely lost, I promise you.
Yeah, you try to find highlights of the opponent's last game, which these days is a bit easier than it used to be. So you've got some idea of what formation they played. But otherwise, I just make notes. So Blues is easy. You just update what you've got. So you're even spotting things like birthdays or, knowing that next time Jeremy Bella plays, it's his 100th game, which it is. Or the next time Lucas plays, it's his 250th for Blues.
So is it bullet pointed then? Do you bullet point?
I just have the last team and the substitutes, and then below it, other squad players who might be involved, and update it. Make sure I've got the formations on, and I do it handwritten every game. Now a lot of people will use a computer, but by handwriting it, it's kind of I spot stuff. So it's just part of my ritual in lots of different colours. It's ridiculous.
Richard, because I don't have a short-term memory, right? I even called you Daz Hale yesterday, right?
It's all right. If I owe you money, it's better that way.
Yeah, you do. But like, how do you remember which player has got the ball and who's passing to who? And
no, it's easy getting the flow. The opposition is the hardest thing, particularly a place like the Medeski Stadium, where Reading turn up in their blue and white hoops with gold numbers on the back, and you haven't got a chance of being able to see the numbers. You're way at the top there. So you're trying to find physical features in the first 5 minutes of the game. If they score in the first 5 minutes, unless it's Michael Morrison with an own goal, like he did for us a couple of years ago, then you really are struggling, to be honest. There are places like that are really, really difficult. But
then I genuinely applaud you for what you do, right? Because I have tried it, and I turn the TV off so many times. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm commentating on this one, right? I'm having it, right? And then within about a minute and a half, right?
Where am I?
I'm done.
It was really tough during lockdown because we had a spell where we weren't allowed to go to away games. And actually it was the start of last year. So for a couple of months I was doing Blues away games, sitting where I am now in front of this TV monitor, watching Blues TV, if it wasn't. Or a couple of times we got some kits, so I was doing them from my sofa at home when they were on Sky. And it's incredibly difficult because you've got no peripheral vision at all. The stuff that you can't
of course, yeah.
So in the stadium you can see that something's about to happen, or you can judge if somebody's offside. If you've only got what the TV director's giving you, then it's very, very tricky.
I tell you what, I challenge everybody that's listening tonight, right?
It's not easy.
Next football game that you put on, right? Find out who's playing and try and commentate. Just turn the sound off and try and commentate. And you'll know how difficult these guys' job is. And I was commentating on the Birmingham City Arsenal ladies. Was it semi-final? Yeah, semi-final, yeah. At St Andrews. And the guys behind me were from the BBC, and they were going, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Nick, but they weren't drunk.
And also, the best in the world, you know, I do have time to prepare. I do have time to prepare, so that's a big advantage, isn't it? And that part of my job is to be ready for when the game comes. So I should have everything in front of me. So it's harder when you've got other things going on in your life. I'm able to focus on it. So honestly, it's not hard when you get used to it. And
it's an incredible, difficult job, though, Richard. And I promise you, like, I absolutely adore you people because, like, you've got so much information going on your head at a minute, and I just wish I could do it. I wish I could do it, and I can't.
But the only important rule is sound like you're happy to be there, because everybody who's listening to you would rather be where you are than where they are. Because very few people are sitting at home out of choice. They want to be at the game.
Super advice,
it is genuinely an honour to be able to do the job. So
bless you.
You have to live it that way.
I think this is the winner for me. Deliver Rooney.
Oh, I thought that was brilliant. Clever that was.
Who was that one, Paul?
That was Mark Brooks, and I like Lindsay's Barry Fries as well. That's good as well.
Barry Fries, yeah.
I like the chicken and chip and doy.
Richard, do you have somebody along a commenter next to you when you're giving your commentary? Somebody's summing things up. Do you have somebody there?
Well, in some games I do. It just depends. If Blues is the main game, then I'll usually have a summariser with me. Whether it Darren Carter, I really enjoy working with Darren Pearce before he moved to Cardiff. Martin O'Connor's done some this year. Who's brilliant as well.
Right. Richard, question: Could the Tilton Talk Show come and do a summarise for you? No charge. We don't charge.
Well, I don't know whether any of you know, but
we want one book of pie each. We want one book of pie each. Right?
Sorry, what payment as well? Crikey. We did have a guest summariser this year on the home game against Bristol City, although I think Darren Pearce was with me. But also we had Simon Heath, who's the chief executive of World Productions. He's a lifelong Blue Nose. And that's the firm that made Line of Duty, and the thing in the submarine last year as well. I forgot the name of it now. But I mean, I knew him. We were at Bourneville Beavers together in the late 70s. And we hadn't seen each other for 40 years. And he came and summarised on the game. So it's not unknown for us to have guest summarisers.
Yeah, I remember.
I promise you, we are open to you, sir. To you.
Yeah, I'd love to have I would, Richard. I'd love to.
Yeah, I'd love it.
I'd love to co-commentate. Yeah.
I tell you what, I'd love. I'd love to see Richard in his Bourneville Beavers uniform.
Oh, you dirty person!
Not in a pervy way.
Richard, right?
This has all gone like Zoom speed dating now.
Richard, I've got a museum to Birmingham City Football Club just down there, right? A whole room dedicated to the Blues, right?
Downstairs loo, is it?
No, mate, no. I promise you, it's got all my signed shirts, my signed footballs, my programmes, everything I've ever collected all through my life. The only one thing that I'm missing is one paycheck off Birmingham City Football Club. And I wouldn't care if it was just 1 pence, right? But just to say that they paid me a penny for doing something, I would be so happy. That would be my life complete.
What do we need to do? Smash a window so you can replace it? Is that what we need to do? Or?
Oh, what? You're supposed to be the chairman.
Well, Craig, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I was just going to say apologies for the technical issues, but I have now put together all of the names of the people that have come forward for the competition.
Okay.
Mr. Wilford, can you give me a number between 1 and 12, please?
Wow. I'm going to, we're under Chinese ownership, so we'll go for lucky number 8.
Oh, my God.
Lucky number 8 is... Congratulations to Jackie Blossom Barton. So congratulations to you. I will be in touch around the tickets. So well done, Jackie.
There you go, girl. Well done, Jackie.
And Jackie's just said Jeff Hungry Horsefield as well.
Nice.
Oh, Hungry Horse. I get that. Well done, Jackie. And
Not
you've
bad.
won some tickets for the game tomorrow, mate. Well done.
Lee Bowler Rice.
Yeah, I like that one.
Sunny side up, son. Oh, we've had Tony Chicken Curry. Taco Bella. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah. Taco Bella, yeah.
Taco Bella.
Yeah, it didn't
Nick,
can
I just say that rather than a pocket pie, I'd like a pulled pork baguette with an onion jus. Thank you.
Working. Traditional working man's game.
How posh is this bloke?
It was something. The only time I've actually had street food outside of a football match was in France, and that's what I had. You know, it was this long, full of pork and this wonderful gravy, let's call it, and that was
Sauce, Alan. Sauce.
whatever you call it, and that was French street food. It was wonderful.
Nick, it's that time, Nick.
I know. It's 2 minutes to 9. Wow. When Richard came on tonight, obviously he works for the BBC, and we promise him there's no hidden agendas on this show, and there never has been, not ever. And Richard, I hope that you've joined it. Well, I know that you've joined in with us tonight. We've laughed and we could cry, etc., etc. But this is what the Tilton Talk Show is all about. It's about 5 or 6 Birmingham City fans who get together, right? And all those people that write messages, each and every single part of our family. It's about Linda coming to us yesterday with Jack, right? And I hugged Jack when I saw him. I said, don't matter how old you are, mate, how old you are or how old I am, never greet me without a hug. Never greet me without a hug. This is the family that we love and we respect. A Birmingham City family. Amazing. And Chris Browne, you're going to be on my best man soon. When I marry that,
I'm scared.
You're scared. You're scared.
Help.
I've known this man for 11 years, and you know what? Wow. Honestly, I'm not a blokey person. I don't have let's go to the races. Ooh. Chris Browne, you sir, I promise you.
Are you having the last 15 at your wedding, Nick?
Oh,
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Are you invited, Paul? Of course you are. And of course, all my beautiful Tilton Talk friends, they'll all be invited. Of course they will. You know what? We'll make it a night, and I'm 60 years old. I hate being that. But it is what it is. And you know what, girls and boys? When I first went to St Andrews in 1973, people would go, oh, this is absolutely rubbish. I've never seen anything like this in 50 years. I thought, 50 years? I've never been going for 50 years. But you know what? I love my football club with all my heart. I do. And I know you do, Chris, and I know you do, Mark, Paul, Wyo, Oliver, and Craig. But I just want things to change. I want things to change so badly. But I have no control. But all we've got to do is turn up, support, shout, scream, and be there for our football team. Richard Wilford, last words from you, sir.
You need to work on your endings. That's what I'm thinking. My final words. I said, your speech at your wedding is going to last an hour and a half. But thank you so much for having me.
Right, Richard.
And I mean,
sorry.
I mean what I said earlier.
Yeah, Richard,
what you do is really important.
Right.
Give the fans a voice and keep doing it.
Richard, I was a DJ for 42 years. There's no
Doesn't
way
show
I'm
it all.
There's no.
I'd be hammered by the time you finish playing me.
It wasn't a very good one.
You what, sorry, Paul?
I said I'd be absolutely hammered by the time you finish playing.
Here's what it is, mate. Here's what it is.
Oh, look at him
Right,
now.
okay. We've got to leave you, lovelies. It's
Yeah.
Middlesbrough tomorrow night. Hope we can get 3 points. That's another 3 points towards safety. Richard.
Where's he gone?
Oh, God.
He's only got one job.
Oi!
11 points
Richard
alive,
Wilford
and
from
anybody's.
Radio One. You know what? You're welcome anytime, Richard, because you know what? You've seen what we do. We do it how we do it, and we do it why we do it, because we love Birmingham City Football Club. So come back with us, mate, anytime you like. Anytime.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for giving up your time, Richard. It's been a pleasure.
You'll also
Richard.
have the last word. Paul Hipkiss, good night, God bless.
Good night, all. Keep right on. 3 points tomorrow.
Mark Adams.
Good night, everyone. Have a good week. Take care.
Chris Courtney.
Here's the 3 points tomorrow night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Oliver.
Good evening. Hope for a win tomorrow.
Chris Browne.
Yeah. Don't forget me.
From me, good night, God bless. Is there anybody else I forgot?
Hi from me as well.
What? Oh! I love you all, guys. We're all blues. We're all blues through and through. You know what? We'll get there. I promise you. We'll get there one day.